Crazy.
Earl sent a message. Earl. Greg sent a message that he loves you.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Just hang in there, folks. The ego is busy this morning, as usual. So. That we'll have to do. Welcome to the Course in Miracles. This is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. And I'm looking forward to hearing some sanity. It tends not to be the regular conversations that I hear in the world. So we're gonna talk about trust, and we're gonna continue with our lesson about trust and trusting other people, and trusting our brothers. So we're gonna start out with that, and we're gonna start out with our theme song, which is "I am not a victim of the world I see." I am not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the relationships I have. I'm not a victim of my finances. I'm not a victim of my career. I'm not a victim of my relatives. I'm not a victim of my friends. I'm not a victim of the world I see. So let's hit it. I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. I'm not a victim, say what, of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of what, of the world I see. Even if it looks like it. I'm not a victim of the ball, I'm not a victim of my fall. I'm not a victim of events, circumstance at all. I'm not a victim. Say what? Of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. That includes the good stuff. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that seems to keep my life. I'm not a victim of the world I see. What's happening now is what I've done to me. And that's the good stuff too. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. That's right. All right, so we're going to be on lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me in the Course in Miracles workbook. And trust is a big issue for most people. You know, the Course in Miracles says the reason why it's hard for us to trust people is how untrustworthy we've been. So there's a part of us that think the same thing can be done to us in terms of how we've done others, because we have not always kept our word, and we haven't always done what we say we're going to do the way that we say we're going to do it. So since we have ourselves not always been trustworthy, then there's a part of us, he says, that is not trustworthy when it comes to other people. And if you want to, first of all, I got to do the guidelines always, because it's the attitude, especially if you're here for the first time. If you want the Course in Miracles to be something that's a lot easier to deal with, then you need to realize that it has its own rules for how you study it, which is different from the way that we've been taught, which is, first of all, to remember you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, you need not welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas might startle you. You're not being asked, I love how he says that, you're not being asked to judge. You're not being asked to analyze. Because it's not like the Course in Miracles isn't true unless you believe it. It's not that something isn't valid because you don't agree with it. So you're not really being asked to analyze the ideas. He says, it's using it that will show you that it works. So you can analyze the Course in Miracles all day long, but it's until you start to use the Course in Miracles that you recognize that the Course in Miracles works. And the Course in Miracles works primarily at the mental level, the perceptual level. It works at the mind level. It's a course in mind training, thinking training, giving us another way to look at it. So if you're going to transcend your doubt, and if you're going to transcend a lack of conviction in yourself, what is it that you need to do? You have to learn how to trust others. Course in Miracles says the way that you transcend doubt in yourself is learning how to trust others. So whenever you're angry at somebody, whenever you're attacking somebody for any reason, you are saying this person is limited by the way you're looking at them. Whenever you're angry and you're attacking anyone, you're saying this person is limited by the way that you are looking at them. Whenever you're angry at the person or attacking the person, you're saying that this person is limited by the way you're seeing them. And it also says, if I'm focusing on the thing that I'm upset with you about, I'm not going to look past it. Because I'm going to focus on what I'm angry about if I'm angry. So if I have a limited perception of you and I'm upset with you, then I'm not going to look beyond your errors. Not only am I not going to look beyond your errors, do you know that what I'm going to do is magnify your errors? And then that becomes a block to me seeing the real you, the loving you that's beyond the upset that I'm projecting on you. Then you won't be able to see beyond your mistakes, because if you get in the habit of focusing on what you perceive to be somebody else's mistakes, your mind is going to automatically do the same thing with your mistakes. Because your mind is always, according to the Course in Miracles, it says your mind is going to apply to you what you're applying to everybody else. So if I'm focusing on your mistakes and your errors, and I'm focusing on what I'm upset with you about, then I'm not going to see the you that I could love and I could have peace with beyond what I'm projecting on you that I'm upset about. Everybody with me? Okay, let me know if I lose you, because if you're upset with me, then you're looking at some limitation you're projecting on me. So you won't see the real me. You're going to see the thing you're focusing on. So then it says, I'm doing a quick review from last week, that what's the one true thing about perception? Well, he says, well, perception has a focus. Whatever you perceive is what you're focusing on. If I'm perceiving this mic, what am I doing? I'm focusing on it. If I perceive you, I'm focusing on you. So perception is the same as focus. So what you perceive is what you focus on. What you focus on is what you see. So either you're going to be focusing on things that make you feel peaceful, or you're going to focus on things that keep you upset. Those are the only two focuses that's happening. You're either focusing on what makes you feel separate, or you're focusing on what makes you feel one with me. I'm either focusing on what makes me feel separate from you, or I'm focusing on what makes me feel connected with you. What you focus on, do you know that what you focus on is what gives consistency to what you see? So if I'm constantly focusing on what I'm upset about, I'll see something to be upset about consistently. If I focus on what gives me peace, then I'm going to see that consistently. Change your focus, what's going to happen? He says, well, what you see is going to change automatically. So as soon as you change your focus, you don't worry about what's going to happen on the outer, because what you perceive on the outer is going to automatically change as soon as you change your focus. So you don't focus on trying to change everything and everybody outside of yourself. You change what you focus on, and then what you see will change automatically. Everybody still with me? All right. Depending on how you're feeling in this very moment is being determined by what you're focusing on at this very moment in your thoughts and in your perception. So nothing you're upset about has anything to do with what you think you're upset about. The Course in Miracles says one of the workbook lessons is I'm never upset for the reason I think. You think you're upset because of something you wish was different that was happening outside you, but you're really upset because of the meaning and the focus that you're giving on it. It's not the thing that's happening in the world that's upsetting you. It's the way you're interpreting what's happening in the world that's upsetting you. You better still with me. Okay, I'll keep on checking in. If you change your focus, then what you see changes, then your vision will shift. And so your vision will start to support what has replaced the way you were seeing it at first. So if I focus on the good in you, then my vision is going to focus on the good in you, and then I start to see things that support my perception of the good in you. Okay? And when you remove your focus from what you think you're upset about in the other person, that's what's upsetting you, is what you're focusing on, it's what's upsetting you, it's what you're focusing on. So the Course says, well, what do you need to do? He says, well, if you remove that focus, then you're going to experience peace. And the peace is going to come from your having faith that there's something good in that person, that there's something sinless in that person, that there's something you can appreciate in that person. So your peace is going to come from changing your focus, and your focus is what's determining how you're feeling about that person or that situation right now. Your wrong mind is going to tell you to go try to change that person and go try to change that outer situation and try to get that person or that situation to be the way you want it to be. Then you'll be happy. But you all know there's nothing on earth harder than trying to get everybody to be the way you want them to be. That's the hardest thing on earth. Even when people say they want to be the way you want them to be, they can't pull it off all the time, even if they say they want to do it. So you can imagine how untrue that is about people who really don't care whether or not you get pleased by them or not. All right? The Course in Miracles is so logical that sometimes it's hard to understand. It's so simple, sometimes it's hard to understand. And so the Course says, if I have faith, how do I have faith in your innocence? How do I have faith in your sinlessness? How do I have faith in your goodness? Well, I got to be willing to see you past the thing that I am upset about and the thing that I'm projecting on that you're doing to upset me or to hurt me in some way. In other words, I have got to go and want to go beyond the way I'm looking at you if I'm upset. I have to want to go beyond what I see as your sins and what I see as your guilt. If you focus on somebody else's mistakes, then the Course says what that's going to do is make you focus on the sins that you think you see in yourself or the guilt that you think you see in yourself. So every time you focus on somebody else's mistakes, is it saying that that's going to witness to the same issues in you? Yes. And if you're focusing on my errors, then you're going to see your errors. And then the Course in Miracles says, then you're not going to transcend those errors, and you won't see the innocence and the goodness that's beyond what you are focusing on. He said the same thing about 5 or 6 different times. It's like, you didn't get it that way, let me say it this way. You didn't get it this way, let me say it this way. So whatever you're upset about, if you're upset about anything right now, it's because you're focusing on it. There's a line in the Course in Miracles. It says, have you been willing to overlook the mistakes and appreciate the good efforts? Or are you just focusing on the mistakes and not appreciating the good efforts? Because almost anyone that you're upset about, whenever you're upset about, especially if it's someone that you know personally, you can also remember something cool about them that you experienced through them. Because you probably wouldn't be friends with them if it wasn't something you liked about them in the beginning. Right? So that means that you're not seeing what you like about them because what? You're not focusing on it. And if you want to separate from them, you're only going to focus on what justifies your separation. So if you already decided you don't want to be with me, then you're going to focus on what keeps that justified, so you don't join with me. If you want to join with me, you're going to want to go past whatever's keeping us from joining with each other. That's what's true in any relationship. Any two people in a relationship that want to have peace with each other can have peace with each other. Any two people in any relationship that want to have peace with each other can have peace with each other. Any two people that want to solve a problem between them and the other person and they want to solve it will solve it every time. If either one of them no longer wants to join, then it will look like the problem has no solution. You just see all the reasons why you can't like them anymore. Because you want to separate. You don't want to join with them. A great example of that is the polarization that's happening between political parties in our country right now. That's a perfect example of it. If you're a Democrat, you're automatically an enemy to the Republican. If you're a Republican, it's the other way around. If I want to see you as separate from me, I'm going to focus on what keeps us separate from each other, and I don't want to go beyond that. Do you understand now why you have any problem with anybody you got a problem with? Is everybody clear about it? You clear about it? Okay. That's why you don't like your dad. Okay. Then the court says, therefore, in practicing today, we first let go of all little focuses. All these little focuses. He says, and let that give way to our great need to let what? Our innocence become apparent. So if I want to see your innocence, I got to let go of the focuses that keep me from seeing it. Notice he's saying the same thing again, right? So hopefully, if nothing else, when you walk out of this class today, you'll be conscious of what you're focusing on, right? And the next time you're upset with somebody and you want to cuss them out, just go, focus you. Okay? And that'll help. So what are we going to do to our minds? He said, well, we're going to instruct our minds. What is it that we're going to instruct our minds of? That I just want to see your innocence, and only your innocence. And guess how long I want to see it? Just a little while. How many of you are good at seeing the good in somebody just a little bit? All right, so we are already able to do what the Course in Miracles is requiring. It's saying, would you be willing to see their innocence just a little while? Right? So how do you do that? How do you see that person's innocence just a little while? He says, well, you don't care about your future goals. So you stop focusing on what you think you would like to happen with that person in the future. And he says, you also forget about what you saw a previous instant in that person. Because you're using this time to practice changing what you want to see. So if I want to change the way I see the person that I'm upset with, I can't keep thinking about what it is I think they did to me in the past, and I can't be concerned about whether or not we're going to still get along in the future. I got to take advantage of this moment right here to see if I can be willing to change the way I look at you right now, right? And I'm only going to want to do it if I want to join with you instead of separate from you. So whenever I'm talking to couples, or if I'm having any kind of disagreement in my mind, I try to remember to ask the person, do you want to join or do you want to separate? Do you want to get past this or do you want to keep it going? Because if you want to keep the separation going, let's not waste our time. Because there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to be satisfying to you if you want to get rid of me. You're going to use whatever I say to justify your wanting to get rid of me if you want to get rid of me. Even if I say something loving to you, you're going to say I'm full of crap. It doesn't matter what I say if you decided to separate. Bear with me. I'm going to keep checking in. Okay? This is this hard Course in Miracles that is so hard for people to read and understand. Y'all notice that this isn't hard to understand, especially if it's a group of us listening together. Okay? Then it says, what are we seeking for? Who can tell? Innocence, peace. That's what I'm looking for in all my relationships. And the Course in Miracles says peace means total fulfillment. So peace isn't necessarily being quiet somewhere contemplating your navel. Peace is whenever you are feeling fulfilled. So you can feel fulfilled on the dance floor, you can feel fulfilled in a movie, you can feel fulfilled in here. Peace is fulfillment. I feel fulfilled. I like that. I feel peace with you, I feel fulfilled with you. I don't feel like there's anything missing in my relationship with you. So we seek for it. I want peace with you now, and I'm going to seek for peace with you now, and I'm not going to be concerned with what you did in the past, and I'm not going to be concerned with what you might do in the future. That is seeking for it with no concern but now. That's why I love it when people, have an opportunity to follow along in the book, because what I want to do is motivate people to study the book, to give the book attention, to read the book. You will not get the magic of the miracles that the Course in Miracles is promising if you never read A Course in Miracles. I'm sorry, you can listen to me, you can watch as many classes and workshops and all that stuff. It's helpful, it supports you, but it will not give you the result of you studying it yourself. I'm telling you that right now after 40 years working with it. You have to give it some attention and study yourself. Too many people want to get the results of the Course in Miracles without ever reading it or studying it. Sorry, it doesn't work that way because it's a new way of thinking. And so how am I going to have a new way of thinking if I don't give the new way of thinking any attention? I can't make it up as I go along. I need to have it right before me. The answer is already before us. So what is a major hazard to your success? A major hazard to your success is your involvement with your past and future goals. What the world is telling me if I want to be successful, that's what I need to focus on, is my past and future goals. The Course in Miracles says it's a hazard to focus on your past and future goals because it's a possibility that you have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals of the Course are advocating from the goals you used to have, right? My goal used to be to have certain material, physical things and conditions happen, right? Most people, when you ask them what their goal is, they're going to tell you stuff they want and things they want, right? The Course in Miracles is not talking about that at all as far as what should be focused on. All right, so you just blacked out on me. Okay, so I keep on moving. That's lesson 181?
Okay. Page 337.
Okay.
Trust in your brother.
Trust in your brother, 337.
You gonna fall for that
I don't know if that's true or not.
Is that it?
Close enough.
I was impressed.
Paragraph 4.
Okay.
I'm not always paying attention.
Oh, that was real sicky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the Course in Miracles says that that's probably a part of you that's been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought. What is the depressing and restricting thought? That even if you try to do this and you succeed, you're still going to screw up again at some point in the future. Okay. That even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. So even if I do forgive you, then I'm going to be mad at you again next week. Right? So even if I do and see a little bit of good about you, next week you're going to blow it. I know you're going to blow it again, right? Then he goes, well, how could that matter? I go, what? He says, well, how could that matter that even if you think you succeed, it looks like you'll fail again? He goes, well, because the past is gone and the future is always something you're imagining. What? The future is always something you're imagining. So whenever you're unhappy, you're thinking about the past or the future. Whenever you're unhappy, you're thinking about the past or the future. It's something you're imagining that's going to happen in the future, or it's something you're focusing on from the past. It's what's making you afraid right now. Why? Because right now you're sitting in a room with a very handsome black man. And everything is good. You know what I'm saying? So you're unhappy right now. You're not focusing on who's sitting in front of you. You feel good, right?
Oh,
Yeah. if we were really being present, we'd be thankful we're surrounded by people who are sharing the goal, who want to wake up, who want to have peace. There are no bombs being dropped. Nothing's happening right now. In this moment, we are completely safe. So if you're worried about something, you're unhappy right now, it's you focusing on something that might get worse in the future, or something that you went through in the past that you don't like. That's why I'm unhappy right now. Not the fact that I think my car needs a new paint job. Right? Think about it. It's never you're never upset for the reason you think. You're never upset for the reason you think.
There you go.
Say that. I'm never upset for the reason I think. 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 Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm never upset for the reason I think. 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 Then we're going to say it for each other. You're never upset for the reason you think. 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 Say it now. That's what I'm saying. We was good. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right, make them bones creep, Purdy. Okay. You never angry for the reason I think? I'm not even ever happy for the reason I think. So it's not even just you're not upset for the reason you think, you're not even happy for the reason you think. You think you're happy because that thing went out, that was going on outside of you went the way you thought you wanted it to go. But you're really happy because of the meaning you're giving to it. That's why you're happy, because of the meaning that you're giving to it. Some people break up in a relationship and they feel great. Yeah. And then some people break up in a relationship and they feel devastated. In both situations, the same thing happened. The relationship broke up. One person is choosing to focus on the good about that, and the other person is choosing to focus on the idea of loss. So I'll say it again, because of course the Course says it, which is everything in the world is neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's the way you're seeing it. So the world is neutral, but the Course in Miracles says what? It says we don't have any neutral thoughts about anything. You don't have any neutral thoughts, but everything's neutral. But there's no such thing as you having a neutral thought. That's two different things. Everything is neutral, but you don't see it that way. And the more special something or someone is to you, the more upset you get about it. So one of the prices you pay for being special to someone is you're going to be the one they also get the most upset with. That's the price you pay for specialness. You get it? Which is good when everything's going great. But it's hell when it's not. Right. Yeah. Yeah, everything's going great, you glad to be special. That's right. Yeah. But as soon as it's going crappy, you know, ooh, I don't know if I should be in this. You know. Oh, I love this book. It's so simple and it's so straightforward. Then it says, I have to put little pieces of glass in front of my eyes for me to see. Just so you can tell I'm a god. You can tell I'm infinite. I need little pieces of glass in front of my eyes to see things. You can tell. I must have my stuff together. I am the holy child of God. The Course says this is a joke we forgot to laugh at. That this whole thing is a joke we forgot to laugh at. And it says because we don't laugh at it, we take it seriously. And when we take it seriously, then we make it serious. And now everything is so serious because we're so serious. So I try to be sincere in my classes, but not serious. Yeah, I want to be sincere with you, but I'm not interested in everything's already serious enough. So I kind of like to have a moment that we could kind of lighten up a little bit. you know. So the Course in Miracles says to us, this is great. It says the reason why you are concerned about the past and the reason why you're concerned about the future is that it's just a defense against present change of focus. I'm coming up with all the reasons why I shouldn't change the way I look at you. So I'm focused on what you did in the past, and I'm focused on what you might do in the future so that I don't have a reason not to change my mind about you right now. I really don't want to change the way I look. I don't want to trust you. So I need justification for not continuing to trust you. So I'm going to think about what I think you did in the past, and I'm also going to focus on what you might do to me in the future, because he says that's what, I love how he puts it, it is a defense against present change of focus. So instead of saying I'm defending against changing my mind, the Course says it in a fancy way. Right now, I am experiencing a defense against my present change of focus on you. And nothing more. I'm just coming up with an excuse not to look at you another way. That's what I'm doing when I think about what you might do to me in the future and what you've done to me in the past. But what's really unfair is when you deal with a new person as if they're the old person. Which means you are on the lookout, the new person's going to do to you what the old person did. And that's not fair to the new person, because that's what makes them a new person. They're a different person. So I'm not your old boyfriend. So don't look at me like I'm your old boyfriend. And don't think you're using wisdom by trying to make sure I don't do to you what your old boyfriend did. Because I'm not your old boyfriend. So you won't see me for who I am right now. And you'll make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, which means you're going to focus on everything that'll make you think I'm like your old boyfriend. And you'll overlook everything else that I do that's not like him at all. So eventually I get to be right, because I'll make you so mad you'll look like you're attacking me just like the old boyfriend did, but I don't realize it because you're so doggone irritating. So that's why they're mad like the old one was. It's you. It's like, who's the common denominator in all your relationships? You! They didn't all get on the phone and call each other and tell each other about how to treat you. It's you that's causing the way they're treating you if they're doing the same thing with you over and over and over again. I don't like that. So these are what we call pointless limitations. What kind of limitations? Pointless limitations. And so what are we going to do with them? We're going to lay them down for a little bit. So what's next? We don't look to past beliefs. It's amazing how many people want to change their mind and have a happy life, but they still want to hang on to the way that they already believe. Yeah. If you really want to have a new life, you've got to change the way you believe. So you must stop letting your past beliefs intrude upon right now. Right now, we have peace with each other. Don't bring your past experiences into this moment with us, because you won't see anybody in this room the way they actually are if you are looking at everybody in this room based on the experiences you had with other people in the past, especially if you're dealing with people who are trying to have new beliefs. Yeah. And we're all trying to have new beliefs. We all know the beliefs of the world. We grew up in the world. So we already know how the world believes. And you already know the result of believing how the world believes. You already know the result of projection, blame, anger, guilt, looking for other people to be the way you want them to be in order for you to be happy. You already know the result of looking outside yourself all the time for your happiness. You already know that does not work. But we keep trying, right? Somebody's going to make me happy. And hopefully it's you. I got some scripts. You have any scripts? I got some scripts. Anybody got any scripts in here? Everybody but Trudy. That's right. Trudy is the only one in here that doesn't have any. Remember, Trudy, denial is not a river in Egypt. Okay.
Serves me well.
That's right. That's right. That's the only way we get into happiness is we in denial. The one without denial, we wouldn't have no good time. All of us pretending we're nicer than we are. You know we are. We look so innocent and nice until you cross us. Yep. Then all of a sudden you see that little nice person in the room ain't nowhere around. So we recognize what? That we've lost this goal. What goal? The goal of looking upon the sinlessness within each other. The goal of looking at the innocence in each other. He says, how can you tell when you lost sight of your goal? We say, well, because you're mad. So how can you tell when you lost sight of your goal of peace? You're angry. You're trying to run someone over with your car. That's a hint. That means, I'm mad at you right now. I've lost sight of my goal with you, Joker. I've totally lost sight of my goal of peace with you. Okay. So how many of you lose sight of your goal in traffic? Come on. Every now and then, you know you lose sight of your goal in traffic. It's all their fault. We all know it's their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. We know that, right? If more people were like me, the world would be a better place. Isn't that right? That's right. I'm a good person until you cross me. Okay. Then he says, and if a brother sins or the thing we're upset with the person occurs to us, he calls that a what? A narrowed focus. Right? All I'm focusing on is what I'm upset with you about. He says, that's a narrowed focus. And what does a narrowed focus do? He said, well, it restricts your sight. Yeah. Right? And what do we do? He says, well, then you turn your eyes upon your own mistakes. Yeah. What? Yeah. If I'm thinking about the sins in you, it's going to make me focus on the so-called sins in me. And guess what? A mistake that we magnify and act like cannot be changed is what we call a sin. A sin is just a mistake that somebody's making that you're saying cannot be corrected and cannot be changed. That's just the way you are. That's just the way he is. He's not going to be any other way. Then you made your projection of them a sin. That's what a sin is. A sin is you looking at a person as if they can't change. Wow. 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 I love this book. So then, again, what does the Course in Miracles ask us to do? It says, well, for a little while, for how long? A little while, without regard to what? The past or future, which is saying without regard to the gone or the not yet. Past means, I'm from the South, I can say gone. Okay. Past means gone, and future means not yet. So I'm thinking about what you did in the gone, or I'm focusing on what you're going to do in the not yet. So without being concerned about the past and not being concerned about the future, should such blocks, which is you seeing what you think you're upset about, arise, we will transcend those blocks with what? Instructions to our mind. You're going to tell your mind what? I need to change my focus. I need to change my focus. I'm getting upset. I need to change my focus. I'm getting upset. I need to change my focus. I'm feeling guilty. I need to change my focus. I think things aren't going right for me. I need to change my focus. I'm in overwhelm. I need to change my focus. I'm sad. I need to change my focus. I'm bored. I need to change my focus. Instruct your mind. Change your focus. Change your focus, mind. Change your focus, mind. My mind, change your focus. My mind, change your focus. Change your focus. Change your focus. Change your focus. I'm mad. Change your focus. So what would I ask my partner friend to tell me when I'm upset? Change your focus. Change your focus. Don't give unsolicited advice. Do not give unsolicited advice. Ask them, would you be open and receptive to me maybe giving you another way you might look at this? That's the way you do. Is it okay if I butt in and tell you what I think you need to do that I never do personally, but I don't think you do? I don't ever do it, but I can definitely. I love how people can be so spiritual about the stuff I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? If I'm sad, all my friends can go, well, just change your focus. Right? Until they're upset. Then, you know, they don't want you to say it to them. What do you mean change my focus? I didn't ask for your advice. What do you mean change my focus? I don't want to change my focus. Then they're going to hurt me again. I'm thinking about what they did in the past. They might do it in the future. They're going to hurt me again. I'm not going to change my focus. I just like to tell the truth about my ego. I really do. I do it more than I used to. So what do you say, right? The course always gives you a magical reality incantation, right? Just like Harry Potter or something, right? So it says, it is not this that I would look upon, right? I'm upset with you. I'm thinking you've doing something. You're limited by how I'm seeing you. So I'm going to say, it's not this I want to look at. Okay. What I'm looking at in you right now is not what I want to look at. I got some more suggestions. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, now. That's some other stuff I want to see. Other than the limitations that I'm looking at. That's right. It's this dress I'd like to see you in. Other than the limitations that I'm seeing. Right? It says, then you say, I trust my brothers. And the Course in Miracles defines a brother as an equal. So you're saying, I trust my equal. I trust my brother is not talking about a man or a woman. It's not talking about gender. It's talking about an equal. So it's saying, I trust my equals. And who are my equals? Who are my brothers? Those who are one with me. So brother means one with me. You are my brother means you're one with me. Doesn't mean you're a man. Doesn't mean you're a woman. It means you're one with me. That's what a brother is. Somebody that's one with you. Okay? So what did you say? It's not this I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. That's too much to remember. That's asking too much. What? What happens if you take a moment to tell yourself you don't want to look at what you're looking at and you really want to trust them? It'll give you a pause that might make you not make a mistake in what you do or say. Sometimes if you can just take a pause, you won't say things that you'll regret later. So anything that makes you pause just for a minute might be enough to make the whole situation better for you. So just taking a moment to say, it's not this that I would look at. I trust my brothers who are one with me might be enough to make you not say something you will regret later. So what does it say? And so we also use what? This thought to do what? Keep us safe throughout the day. So what is it that we're not going to seek? He says, well, you don't seek long-range goals. That's opposite to what we've been programmed. Say, don't seek long-range goals. And as each obstruction, which is your limited way of looking at this person, seems to block the vision of our own innocence, sinlessness, what are we going to do? We're going to seek but for surcease, I like that, surcease an instant from the misery the focus upon that person's sin or guilt will bring, and uncorrected will remain. So Spirit keeps telling me, I've got to make the decision that I want to see you differently. I have to make the decision that I want to see this differently. I have to make the decision that I want to let this go before I can let it go. I have to make the decision that I don't want to keep seeing what's upsetting me about you. And then the Course in Miracles says, nor do we ask for fantasies. For what we seek to look upon is really there. So what does that mean? It means that good in you that I really want to see is really there. That love in you, that spirit in you is really there beyond my grievances. On the other side of my grievances. And so he says it right here. And as our focus does what? Goes beyond mistakes, we will behold a totally innocent world. So why is it that we don't see an innocent world? Because we're so busy focusing on our judgments, our criticisms, and our condemnations of everything and everyone around us. Because we're trying to make ourselves special. The Course says when you're trying to make yourself special, you do it by putting everybody else down. So people constantly judging and condemning and criticizing everybody because they're trying to make themselves feel like they're superior to the people that they're criticizing. So it's just a way to try to make yourself feel like you're better than the people around you when you're constantly focusing on everybody's mistakes as if you never make one. I have. In January 3rd, 2017, I made one. That was my one mistake.
I think it was in December, actually.
Hey! Hey! Don't make me have a limited focus on you, girl. Don't let me put my focus on this, you know. get me started with my focuses. I got a bunch of focuses. I tell them sicker focuses. Of course, calls them the hungry dogs of hate.
What was it, the what?
Hungry dogs of hate.
Hungry dogs.
Yeah, so we send out hungry dogs of hate.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
All those mean.
I think about that every time I'm walking by a house and dogs are barking at me like they can rip me alive, you know. And I was going, wow, that's the hungry dogs of hate.
Oh, look out.
It seems like they want some dark meat too.
It's the most.
See, that's my karma. I like dark meat myself.
It's the most moist and juicy.
So then the Course in Miracles says, when seeing this, seeing what? A holy, sinless world, okay? It's all we want to see. He says, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception is what? To see a holy, sinless world. He says, then the eyes of Christ, which is the eyes of love, are inevitably ours. So when will I see with the eyes of Christ, which is the eyes of love, when all I want to see in you is love, and all I want to see in you is what's innocent and is what's sinless. But I need relationships to help remind me that that's the goal, rather than relationships that help me forget that that's the goal. You don't need people that join in with you when you're saying crappy stuff about things. And they go, you're right, that is a horrible person. You're right, the world is messed up today. That's not someone helping you see a holy, innocent world that you're safe in. Down to the last paragraph. It says, and the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. So the part of you that really loves, the Course in Miracles is saying to us that that love that our real self feels for us will become the love we feel too. We have a real self. A real self is only loving. Our real self is only kind. Our real self is very responsible. It's very loving. It wants oneness. It wants innocence. It only sees innocence. Anything in you that's seeing anything other than that is your ego. It is your wrong focus in action. And so you have other people that join you in your wrong focus, and we call that a society, a club, or a community, or a church. Okay? Right? You're surrounded by the people who think like you do. We say we're with our community, our tribe. Right? So everybody's living in the echo chamber, where they're just hearing their own thoughts being reflected back to them. That's what the algorithms do on Facebook. You know, they just start sending you stuff that's related to stuff that you're already writing and thinking.
Right.
If you were to look at my Facebook feed, you would think everybody I knew was enlightened and into personal growth, because everything I get is some type of positive thought or another way you should look at them, because that's my interest. But let's say a person is racist, then they're going to have all the racist algorithms, or whatever you call it. Okay, so you're going to always get reinforced. That's a great metaphysical law. You always get reinforcement of what you focus on and what you believe. If you really are something, you're going to attract people to you who are like that. So the best way to have the kind of people you want in your life would be to be that kind of person yourself. Don't wait for somebody to show up with qualities that you aren't exemplifying, which is what many people do. They ask for mates who are much better than they are. But a person that's much better than you are, they're not looking for you. They're looking for somebody that's better than them. And people don't tend not to go backward, right? So if I'm dull and boring and I want an exciting person, the exciting person probably doesn't want me. Think about that the next time you're programming for who you want to be with. But they want to be with you. Are you a good time? Are you a good time? That's deep, isn't it? Down to the last paragraph. Wow, it's extra dark today. They're talking about a useless light. Like all those bulbs in here, I can't hardly see y'all. Funny. Okay. The world, which once proclaimed our sins, becomes the proof that we are without sin. The world that used to prove that you were not so good is going to become the world that proves you are very good. That's good news. And our love for everyone we look upon attests to our remembrance of the Holy Self in us, which knows no sin. So I won't see love in all of you until I start remembering the innocent self in me. I won't see the love in you until I start seeing the innocence in me. So I want to be around people who reinforce my innocence and not at all around people who reinforce my guilt. Because it's only when I see the holiness and the innocence in me that I look on the world that's looking back at me with love. And you can tell when you change your mind by how strangers treat you. Are strangers speaking to you more? Are strangers smiling at you more? Are they, I was going into a restaurant just the other week and 2 people wanted to take a selfie with me. Just walking into the restaurant.
All right.
They say, "Oh, you look so good. I love your energy. Can you take a picture with us?" Yes, for $10. Okay. I know I should ask for more. That was a mistake I made. That's the only mistake I made. It's people in the world are being more friendly to me than people who I go to social groups that's supposed to be friendly. It's really interesting, right? You can tell the world is a mirror. If you really want to know what's going on inside of you, how is the world treating you? That's what's going on inside of you. I'll say it again. How is your world treating you? That's the way you're treating you. Not the way you think you're treating you. It's the way the world's treating you. It's a reflection of your subconscious beliefs. Your subconscious beliefs. So then it says right here, we seek for this remembrance as we turn our minds to practicing. So when are you going to remember how innocent and powerful you are? When you turn your mind to practicing. So how do you need to look? He says, well, don't look ahead and don't look backwards. What do? Look straight. Look straight into what? Now. See, that's what I'm trying to remember as I'm sitting up here with you all, is to keep staying in the now. Keep staying present with you all right now. To not think about what's going to happen after the class is over. To not think of what happened before the class happened. It's hard for us to stay present. Have y'all noticed that? How you sit up here and before you know it, you're thinking about what you're going to be doing later on, or what you did before you got here. Because all of the relaxation and peace and love that you want is in this present moment, that you're not being threatened and that you're safe. So your ego is trying to make you be anywhere but now. Right. Because now is where you don't have any problems. You just think you do. Because you think about the future or you think about the past. See? Then the Course says we look straight into the present. And what do when we look straight into the present? He says we give our trust. What do you give your trust to? The experience we ask for. So don't trust people. Trust the experience that you're asking for with people. I'm trusting that I want the experience of peace with you. I can mean that. I can trust that. I really want more peace and joy between us. So I can trust the experience. I want to start trusting the experiences that I'm asking for. I want love in my life. I want real love. I want to trust that experience, it can exist for me if I do what? Remember the love in me, remember the innocence in me, and be willing to look past the mistakes I think I see in you. Without thinking about what you did in the past and thinking about what you might do in the future, okay? Notice that this section is giving us exactly how to deal with trust issues. Now it becomes a matter of, do I want to remember this?
There you go.
Because it's very different from the way I was programmed to think about it. This is very different. Might work. Right? It might work because it is so different from the way we've been taught. Right, that's why I got faith in it. It's like it's nothing we've been taught. Right? So what is your innocence? What is your sinlessness? It's the will of God. So when you say, I'm asking for the will of God, you're saying I'm asking to know my innocence. Because the Course teaches that the innocent mind cannot suffer. That the innocent mind will not attract pain, sickness, or lack, or loneliness. It's guilty minds that attract hell. Okay. So that's why it's so important to be around people who reinforce your innocence.
Amen to that.
But who do you put most of your energy into? The people who don't. Right? And we look at it like we're trying to get them to change their mind about us. So we don't invest energy in the people who are already seeing us as innocent. Because we got them handled. So I need to focus all my attention on who's giving me the hard time. And not focus any of my attention on who's giving me a good time. Then I wonder why the people that give me a good time fade out of my experience. Well, because I'm not giving them any attention. Because I'm focused on the fool. Okay. I'm focused on the one that I think don't appreciate me, doesn't see me, doesn't love me. And my job is to change that so they get all of my attention. So what I focus on is what I increase, right? What I focus on is what I see. They're not giving me love. They're not giving me appreciation. So they're making me feel like I'm not appreciated and I'm not loved. And then it just keeps building on itself. But if you were to go, who is it in my life that when I'm around, they tend to support me and be positive toward me and loving toward me, and then I take the time to give them a focus, then I would be increasing my self-love. If I increase my self-love, I'll see the world loving me more. And that reinforces that I'm lovable, which makes me more loving. So then I see more love, which reinforces I'm lovable, and it builds on itself. What you don't invest in leaves, right? So somebody that doesn't love you and you don't invest in them, they leave. That's a good thing. Somebody that doesn't appreciate you leaving you is a good thing. Rejection is protection and redirection. I don't appreciate you, I'm redirecting you to go somewhere else. I don't love you, I'm redirecting you to go somewhere else. Rejection is protection and redirection. Got that? So we give our trust to the experience we ask for now. Our sinlessness is but the will of God. This instant is our willing one with God's. In this instance, we want the same thing our Creator wants. Our Creator only wants to know and see our innocence, and we do too. I trust my brothers who are one with me. All right, I'm going to do about a 2 or 3 minute recap in just a second. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a full-time teacher of the Course in Miracles. I'll give you the opportunity to share if you want to. If you'd like to make a donation or a financial expression of appreciation, I would greatly appreciate that if you feel like you received something valuable through me and the Course. If you're online, you could use Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, or the Cash App. All you need is my email address, Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. That's Purdy. Those of you who would like to go deeper and you have issues that you would like to get handled, and you would like coaching or mentoring because you know you really want to do the course, I'm available for that. I call them clarity sessions. And so you want to do the clarity session, just go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, and you can get more details about my clarity sessions, and you can self-book a clarity session with me online. And I'm also an astrologer and a numerologist, and if you like a reading from me, through me, then I'm available for that also, for those who are open-minded and non-judgmental. All right? Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do what I call, thank you, I do what I call hardcore Course in Miracles, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, 7 o'clock Thursdays Mountain Time. Sundays, 1 o'clock Mountain Time, we do another Facebook Live Course in Miracles class, this one right here. If you're in the Denver area and you want to attend in person, let me tell you, regardless of what I'm saying, it's some good looking people. So you might, who knows, the one might be here. You might want to come and see if you can change your focus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That made them feel really comfortable, Greg. Okay. Okay, so you're welcome to come 1555 Race Street, Denver, Colorado, 80206. All right. All my classes on YouTube. I'll upload them on YouTube, so you don't have to necessarily be on Facebook to watch my classes. I have hundreds of classes on YouTube. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a couple of minutes to hear the prayer that is asking us to use. You got to change your focus. There is no hocus pocus. You have to change your focus. Change your focus. There's not some hocus pocus. You got to change your focus. It's not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. It is not that I would look upon. What do you have to do? I have to trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. You can say, I trust others who are one with me. 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 Now, don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Close your eyes just a minute. Close your eyes just a minute. How can you tell when you lost sight of your goal? How can you tell when you lost sight of your goal? If anger blocks your way in any form, you have lost sight of your goal. Say what? If anger blocks you in any form, you have lost sight of your goal. We don't seek for long-range goals, and as each obstacle blocks our vision, we are going to stop focusing on the mistake, and we're going to focus on what's beyond the mistake. You have to overlook the mistakes and appreciate the good efforts, and overlook the mistakes and appreciate the good efforts. 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 Overlook the mistakes and appreciate what? The good efforts. So, if you're seeing something on someone that upsets you, if you're angry about someone right now, tell yourself what? It is not this I would look upon. Say what? It is not this that I would look upon. what's making you mad. It is not this that I would look upon, what's making you sad. It is not this I would look upon, what's making you mad. It is not this that I would look upon that's making you sad. Go, I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. My companions, may the course be with you. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for showing up and remembering with me today. And if you want to be on my mailing list, just go to my website. You can be on my mailing list. Hey, I told you, put your clothes on.